Welcome to Crash Test Hockey. It's been a while, hasn't it? Thank you to my subscribers again for sticking with me. No, I haven't been building an arc. It's just that I've become a new stay-at-home dad, and time management has become a real challenge. But my love for doing this has not waned one bit. It's just finding the opportunity to, prepare and shoot these videos. So my apologies. Hey, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And don't forget before you go to give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. All right, so enough of the foreplay. Let's dive right into this. Grading the Toronto Maple Leafs at the All-Star break, or end of it. This is Sunday, February 4th at the time of filming, by the way. Now, I want to talk about Brad Treliving quickly, the moves he made in the offseason. Some good, some decent, some downright awful. Right? So Benoit and Jones have looked like steals so far. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Bertuzzi and Domi have finally come around, although the points still haven't been there for Bertuzzi. Hopefully he returns to his, Boston Bruins playoff shape by the time the extra season starts. And then Domi, you've seen flashes of him being an elite passer. You just want something more defensively responsible out of a third-line center. Probably more on that a little later. Then there's Ryan Reeves, who I was kind of happy to see him, but like everyone else, I hated the term. And yes, I know they can bury him in his contract and only have to eat about $200,000. We did play the other day at Winnipeg and looked good, but I still get the feeling he might be waived. What really grinds my gears about the Reeves saga is that they had to trade Lafferty to fit him. Oh my God. To the Vancouver Canucks, where he's flourishing right now. A guy who can play up and down the lineup, a winger who's really fast skater, who will hit, who will drop the gloves from time to time, who's defensively responsible, and who could score you 12-ish goals a season. Then, of course, there's John Klingberg, who's just a complete and utter disaster of a signing. Years ago when he became available after turning that contract down from Dallas, I was crossing my fingers and toes the Leafs wouldn't try and sign or trade for him. He's just totally irresponsible in his own zone. He's awful there. And the Leafs, for what seems like a decade now, have always been missing defensive defensemen who are mean and tough to play against in the playoffs. And he's none of those things. And Matt Dumba signed in Arizona for less money. He definitely would have been an improvement. I remember when Gudas was playing for the Washington Capitals and before he got traded to Philly, then went from Philly to Florida, then Florida to Anaheim now. I've been wanting the Leafs to go after him for a long time. Yeah, I don't care that he yelled in Joseph Wall's face during the playoffs. I have him in fantasy hockey. He's a hitting machine who's a dangerous guy to play against and who's perfect in the playoffs. And I know Brad Treliving now has got a problem. He's got nothing left in the cupboards because of Kyle Dubas, right, who loaded up last couple of seasons. And his hands are kind of tied. And the prices are super high. You're not trading a first-round pick for a rental. You want someone with term at the very least if you're giving that up. So what are you going to do? I mean, Robertson looks like he's been turning around as of late. Possibly you could trade him for someone. Or, I saw this on Twitter, forgive me, I can't remember who posted it, but flipping Max Domi for some assets and then possibly using those assets to go after a third-line center who plays a 200-foot game. Obviously, they need a top four defensive defenseman. Really, they could use two because this team really only has one top four D-man, and that's Morgan Riley. And the rest of them are bottom-pairing guys. Even Jake McCabe, who I really love, and Benoit are bottom-pairing D, who are mean and hit. They need more of that, just a higher quality of it. The best they might be able to do is like a player like Ilya Lyubushkin, who played for them a couple of years ago. Anywho, enough foreplay. Let's jump into the stats here. They're fourth in the Atlantic Division. Now, they're 1 point behind the Tampa Bay Lightning with 3 games in hand. They're in the first wild card spot, albeit they have the same amount of points than the Detroit Red Wings, who sit in the second wild card, but they have 3 games in hand over them as well. They're 12th in the NHL. Goals for, they're 8th. Goals against, they're 15th. The Leafs actually were a pretty good defensive team the past few seasons, but of course now they've regressed, partly in fault of those off-season signings. The power play is 9th. The PK is 24th. Anyone they trade for, be it a forward or defenseman, has got to play the PK. They need improvement there. Penalty minutes, they're 18th in the league. Max Domi leads the team in that respect. And ironically, he's 18th in the NHL. Face-off win percentage, they're second. Pittsburgh beats them by just a little less than 1%. Players with double-digit goals, they've got 5 of them, starting, of course, with Austin Matthews, who also leads the league with 40 at the moment. William Nylander is another. Marner, Tavares, and Kalle Järnkrok, who's hurt at the moment. Total goals from their defensemen. They're in the bottom 4th of the league. It's been like this for quite some time. They've got 16 overall. And now let's talk about the goalies. Samsonov, all of a sudden the past 3 games, look like he's found last year's form. In 19 games, he has an .878 save percentage. I'm not willing to give him my trust just yet. I think it's going to take at least 6 more games. Martin Jones has been a bit of a savior here, although he's obviously starting to run out of gas in 17 games. He's had a .911 save percentage. And then there's Joseph Woll, who should be back within a few weeks or so. In 15 games, he has a .916 save percentage. My only fear with Woll is that we're putting too much on his shoulders at such a young age. Not to mention, Woll has a bit of an injury history. And now in their last 10 games, they're 5-4-1. They won their last 3 in a row. How would I grade this team? I'm going to give them a C. I think that's fair. I believe there's a pretty good chance they'll make the playoffs. If they play anyone else besides Florida, I think they could get to the second round. Otherwise, they could be toast. Unless they're riding a hot goaltender. Anyways, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you want to support me and the channel, you can do that through my crowdfunding page called Buy Me a Coffee. You'll find a link down below or on my homepage. I hope to see you soon. And remember to be excellent to each other.